Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Thing. It is Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Happy holiday, by the way. So this Monday, today, we got some stories already, man. It's building up. Dr. Doom, another Fantastic Four. Is always Fantastic Four, but this time the big rumor is Josh Hartnett. Is Josh Hartnett Dr. Doom? Was he offered Dr. Doom before the strike began? That's the rumor. That's the word on the street, kiddos. Speaking of streets, they're getting blown up by Godzilla in the new trailer, Japanese film, and it looks pretty damn good. But I'll talk about that in a second. And then they've got some other trailers. We have the Loki trailer that's out there, and another story that I wanted to cover is Sam Witwer commented on this whole Inquisitor thing on the Ahsoka series and whether or not it was him or not. So we'll get into that and more. There's a lot to talk about today. Blue Beetle doing what we thought it would. The word of mouth is starting to help it a little bit. Does it have an opportunity to make a profit? Does it have an opportunity to break even? We're going to get into that as well. So if you're joining us here for the first time, first of all, thank you. We just hit 90,000, man, and now we're on our way to 100. So we hope that you guys will hit that button. Join us today. 5 days a week we do this show, and we hope that you'll join us here today. Be part of it. We got short form, we got long form, we have just shorts themselves. We got them all. And we hope that you will join us on the journey here on The Big Thing on this channel here. So without any further ado, let's get to The Big Thing. Me and you here on a Monday. Come on. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Big Thing Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. I really do. Was it relaxing? Is it still relaxing? You have the day off from work? I don't. But I get to talk to you guys. And I get to check in and we get to see. Last week was pretty fun, though. Last week was fun. We had some good guests. We had Miri Jedikin returning. We had John Roca. We had Riley back on the show. So it was nice. It was like a reunion of sorts, albeit just me and those people on a one-on-one basis, but it was still a lot of fun. So if you haven't had an opportunity to check that out, please do so. Got a lot going on, man. And I think a lot of you know about our website. We've kind of transferred over. We still have a Patreon, but we've kind of transferred over, and people, if you want to and you're able to, thekristianharloff.com. If you head over there and you join there, there's tiers that we have over there. I have a exclusive podcast that I do over there called What I'm Watching. And it's just the things that I watch throughout the month, and I talk about it. And I one of the ones I'm going to cover this month for sure in September is Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. And then I also do a rewatch dedicated to one particular movie. Now, whether or not it's going to be that one or not, I don't know yet. But that's the beauty of it. So head on over there, and I also do one-on-one sessions with people, and there's an exclusive Q&A that we do. So that's thekristianharloff.com. It's always the first thing you see in the description. All right, let's start right away with this story. Okay, let's hit this first. Even though we're seeing Josh Hartnett here, let's first talk about everything in this report from Dark Horizons. Productions on basically everything Marvel and DC has been grounded to a halt due to the strikes from films in production like Deadpool 3, Thunderbolts, to shows like Daredevil, Born Again, and The Penguin. Nonetheless, that hasn't stopped the casting and story rumor mill from chugging along, even as scripts are on lockdown and production departments are silent. Over the weekend, there were 3 reports from longtime scoopers, and they have cropped up, each suggesting bits of information. Now, how much of it is real, that is the question. The first is My Time to Shine Hello, who posted a scoop indicating that their sources have confirmed that Dick Grayson will be around 13 years old in the Batman Part 2, suggesting a very young Robin will appear in the Matt Reeves-directed sequel. The scoop gained enough traction that the Batman has been a trending topic on Twitter in some areas. However, as quickly as has been pointed out in response, their source may be hijacking an old Robert Pattinson interview quote. Ahead of the release of The Batman and talking about his love for the famous Batman Death in the Family comic, Pattinson was asked by Collider about a potential Robin appeared in a sequel, to which the actor said, "Yeah, but he has to be around 13, and that's the only way I'll accept it." Now, the other scoop is about Deadpool. And this is from Screen Geek, who says that at least one other variant of Deadpool will show up in the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie. They've heard this variant known as Kidpool, which is a child version of Wade Wilson. Now, here is the one that we're going to lead with today and that we're going to talk about a little bit more. This is from Dark Horizons again. The wildest and most interesting of the rumors comes from GFR, who claims their trusted and proven sources tell them that before the strikes began, Josh Hartnett was officially offered the role of Doctor Doom. They said if he says yes, his part in the film will be relatively small, but set up for major appearances later. All right, let's start with this report first, the Batman and Robin one. I do think there's some merit to it that the report was kind of taken from an old interview, and that Robert Pattinson said that and they kind of ran with it. Could be wrong, but it seems like that. It just, people are looking for news right now, and they're looking for some things to talk about for sure. So I don't know. As far as the Deadpool thing, there's so many reports of how many different variants and all these other things that are going to be. So if it shows up, sure, it'll probably be a bit. It'll probably be 2 seconds. Whatever, right? That's why we're leading here today with this Doctor Doom thing. Now, if this report would have come out about, I don't know, before Oppenheimer, and I've never seen the other one, Petty Dreadful, is that the show he was in? I would have been like, really, Josh Hartnett? It's interesting. I don't know. Maybe he can pull it off, and maybe they saw something in the audition. I don't know. After seeing Oppenheimer, if this is fact, I don't hate it. He's fantastic in Oppenheimer. I mean, he's fantastic, and he fits the mold. I think he's tall enough. He's good looking enough. He can make it work. He clearly can do the brilliant dude. It's what he does in Oppenheimer, and it's almost like if that character in Oppenheimer turned out to be Doctor Doom, that's who it would be. So I still love the Henry Cavill. That's my dream casting of it. I just think it'd be a great move overall. I'd love to see him play the bad guy but as far as the second part of this rumor that I think is factual, I think you could guess it, is that Doctor Doom shouldn't have a major part in the first Fantastic Four. You shouldn't. I know that he's the main villain, but you're going to have time for him. He's going to be probably one of the main villains throughout the duration of the MCU. So you want to build him up. So he's almost like, a bigger role than what Thanos had at the end of Avengers, the first one. But this is something. It's funny because I think that it's really because of Oppenheimer that I'm fully on board. And I've definitely seen Hartnett do stuff over the course of the last, I think it was like 5, 6 years, 10 years, 5, 10 years, where I've been like, okay, he's definitely. I think when he first started out, it was like the heartthrob guy, the Pearl Harbor guy, and you're like, I don't know, this guy, how good is he? In 30 Days, not 30 Days and 30 Nights. So he's in both of those, which is the one. Whatever the vampire one was, he was really good in that too. And I think it was one of the first times I went, oh, all right, interesting. But yeah, I think that his perception, the public perception of him has changed dramatically. But I think even more so after Oppenheimer. So and this is why I kind of, out of the three of these rumors, I definitely think this one has some legs, because it's also one of those things where that's what Hollywood does. It's like, who are people talking about right now? Oh, do you see Hartnett in Oppenheimer? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's usually how it goes. Did you see him in Oppenheimer? He's fantastic. All right, well, let's get him. He'd be great. Let's lock him up. Let's do it. Or lock him down, whatever. But either way, I guess depending on and how certain people's experiences were, you could say lock him up. But either way, I think that this could be an interesting choice. Now, we're not going to find out anything until these strikes are over. But by the time we get, if let's say hypothetically, if these strikes are over in January of 2024, which is where I'm leaning, and I hope I'm wrong, I would say Vanessa Kirby, I think that's real casting. I really do. I also think the kid from Stranger Things could also be Eddie from Stranger Things. Could also definitely be Johnny. I think that's a good call. Cousin from the bear could be the Thing. I think those are all possible and very, very likely. And I think Hartnett, I don't look at this and go, I don't know. I don't think so. I think this is a good choice. I do. And what I will tell you is, if you have seen Oppenheimer, do you think he's a good choice? If he is Doctor Doom, if not, let me know. If you haven't seen it, and you're judging it off of old school movies, no offense, but I'm not going to take too much merit in the conversation, because you can grow as a performer, you can grow in general, life experiences and all these different things that happen. But I will, if you think I've seen Oppenheimer, and I'll tell you why I don't think he's a good fit. I'll listen to that, because this is a career-changing performance, in my opinion. And I think he almost has a shot to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I don't know if he will. I think Downey will probably get that over him, and rightfully so. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was a double nomination. I wouldn't be surprised, because he's really good in it. But Downey steals the show in that movie. There's no doubt about it. But so when you have roles like that, and don't forget, Oppenheimer's also it's getting close to $1 billion, isn't it? Something like 800 million, or I don't know. We'll talk about box office in a second, but it's also a lot of eyes on that. A lot of eyes. A lot of people have seen that movie. So I think we'll get more rumors. We'll get more people. This is the first one of Doctor Doom, though, that we've really heard, right? We've heard a ton of people on Reed Richards. We've heard tons on Sue and Johnny and even The Thing, right? We haven't heard much on Doctor Doom, unless I'm mistaken. Again, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But I think Josh Hartnett could be a good pick. Anyway, I want to hear from you guys, and I want to hear what you think. Please go ahead. Tell me exactly what you're thinking. I got to know. And I also got to know, I've told you guys many times over about this, and I do hear people telling me, have you checked out Rocket Money yet? Have you checked them out? I want to know. Do you know what Rocket Money is? Some people, when you say it at first, like even to my peeps on the crew, Rocket Money is a great way to take a look at your everything. You've done it before when you see those apps and you're like, oh, I'll try that one, and you hit it. That's free. Okay, it's free. Yeah, and then every month after that, you're getting charged like $12.99 or whatever it is. You're like, where's that $12.99 going? You forget it. Well, it goes through all the subscriptions, whether it's streaming accounts, all these things, and it gives you a great idea of what's going on. And I love Rocket Money. I really do. So if you haven't tried it and you want to try it, you should try it, because if you forget about some certain subscriptions and you paid for it twice, you don't even realize it. Rocket Money, for me, it has canceled a bunch of subscriptions for me. It has helped me save money. It keeps me updated on my credit score. It helps me manage my budgets overall. It's a personal finance app, and it helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps you lower your bills all in one place. Because I'm telling you, man, it really weighs on your wallet. It really does. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions, and they might not even remember subscribing to half of those. If you have no idea how much you're spending each month, I'm telling you, you need Rocket Money. I swear by it. It's great, and it tracks all of your expenses so you know exactly where your money is going. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way. Go to rocketmoney.com/thing. 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 I told you. RUMPL's the best. I keep getting DMs, and I keep getting people who have been letting me know that they've gotten RUMPL because of this show, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're spreading the word. I really am. RUMPL's great, and they're on a mission to introduce the world to better blankets, and they're doing it. Durable, sustainable, and they're built to last. They recycle over 5 million plastic water bottles a year. They're B Corp certified, climate neutral, and they donate 1% of all their sales to environmental causes. I love RUMPL, and I've told you guys many times over, whether you're going to be at a picnic or you're going to go camping or you're just going to snuggle on a couch, they have all types of blankets. It's amazing. They have the original puffy blanket, which is their #1 bestseller. They have over 1 million sold. They have 135 unique designs, and there's a blanket for everyone. People are always looking for some new blankets, and sometimes when you buy blankets, they don't last very long. They're not durable. These things last, and they last for a while. They're amazing. They're not just for the outdoors, as I mentioned. Really good for just snuggling up watching a movie. I do it all the time. For listeners, go to rumpl.com/thebigthing and use that code, thebigthing, at checkout. Get 10% off your first order. rumpl.com/thebigthing, code thebigthing. I promise. And you know what it also does? As I say it many times over, if you are able to, please consider one of our wonderful sponsors, because it helps you out and it helps our show out. And you go, all right, you know what? This guy, he talks about this every damn show. How is it going to help out? Well, they're going to keep coming back, and they're going to help you out too. Okay, let's get to the next story. This is something that I got to talk about, man, because it's everywhere right now. There's so many theories on this Marek, this Inquisitor in Ahsoka. So the double-bladed red lightsaber-wielding henchman serves along Ray Stevenson's ex-Jedi Baylan Skoll and Ivana Sanko's Shin Hati in the show. He got his first words on the third episode of the series last week, which unfortunately did not clear things up. As previously reported, Paul Darnell has been listed as Marek's stunt performer in the first 2 episodes and was upgraded to featuring for the third, which first features Marek's heavily modulated voice. At the same time, actor Sam Witwer appeared in the third episode's credits as an additional voice actor, but the nature of his role is unknown. There's been plenty of speculation that Marek could be the Star Wars The Force Unleashed character of Galen Marek / Starkiller, whom Witwer played in the games. But so far, no one has said anything. Then, last week, Witwer popped up on an Instagram reel where he seemed to debunk the theory. User Diamond Fig shared the reel in question, in which Witwer basically said he couldn't talk about any involvement in the shows due to rules in place, whether it's Lucasfilm or SAG strike. But he did say, I don't know what the rules are. I mean, honestly, I was just about to say I didn't work on Ahsoka, but I did. Yeah, so I don't think I can say anything, guys, but proud of Dave Filoni. I love Dave. In the reel, Witwer seems to genuinely forget at first that he worked on the series before recalling that he did. He makes no further mention of what exactly he contributed, but an additional voice credit could be something that would be forgotten, where a key supporting on-screen role would not. In the times the reel was first shared, the theories surrounding Starkiller haven't ceased, while others are latched onto ideas like a dark side Ezra Bridger. Boo. The 4th episode of Ahsoka is released tomorrow night, with Inside the Magic reporting that Marek's identity will be revealed in that episode. Interesting. So we're going to find out potentially Starkiller is who Marek is. I was leaning towards Starkiller. I really was. And I thought it would be a good reveal, a good way to do it, finally bring him into canon the way that Filoni brought Thrawn into canon. But I do believe that I think that Witwer would have been a little bit more sly about it. And I do think you could forget about, oh yeah, that's right, I did those things for him. It was such a long time ago, and I was additional voices, and I did some things, because they're tight. They do stuff all the time. And we had Witwer on Katie Sackhoff's blah blah blah. We can't air that episode yet until after the strike. He doesn't talk about any of this stuff, so I don't have any information for you there, but nothing. But he did talk about how close he was with Filoni, obviously, and how he's been working with them and how he raves about them. So he's been working with them forever, and I think that this is. I don't think he's trying to play, do the JJ it's not Khan thing. I think this is legit. I don't think it's him. Maybe we're wrong, but I don't. The rumors have been Kanan, and if it is Kanan, it's definitely not Freddy. So they're going to have the reveal in front of Hera, and then you're going to have to figure out who Kanan is they're going to have to explain it to everybody if you haven't seen Rebels. So that could be weird. The Ezra thing would be incredibly stupid. It would negate the entire mission. Well, wait a minute. So Ezra's here? So why do we need a map? Why didn't he just tell us where Thrawn was? Oh, because he forgot. We brainwashed him. Please. It'd be so stupid. And again, turning him bad. Why? And someone said to me, someone when we were talking, well, I disagree. He was on the verge the entire series. Yeah. And then he battled against it because it was the whole point of it was that you kept thinking left or I was on board with the teasing of it back then. But then after Kanan died, they had this whole balance with him. He became like the most kind of, it would completely negate his whole arc. Completely. Especially if you've never even known him, if he's a live action character to you and you've never seen him otherwise. So please, it really would be one of the stupidest decisions that Star Wars ever made if you made him bad. You really have to explain it to where I go, okay, look, I'm fully prepared. If by episode 4 I come back and it is revealed to be Ezra, and I'm like, look, this is how I'm going to open it. I have been an advocate that this would have been the stupidest decision, and the way that and it doesn't make any sense. But then I watched the writing, and they explained it in 33 minutes of why it made sense, and I was wrong. Now, I don't think that scenario is going to happen. I think that one of two things will happen. One, it's not going to be Ezra, and I think that's more likely. Or two, I'm going to say this. They did it, and it makes no sense, and I hate it. I'm glad you guys like it, but I hate it. I think it's really stupid. I don't think they've established this enough. It stinks. But I don't think that's coming. So there's three scenarios. We'll see which one it is. And it looks like it'll be after this week. I actually would love if Sam is pulling a con on us and is duping us. I think that would be awesome. I just don't see that happening. But I think that the one that I really want the most, I want it to be a random character that they give you a little backstory on, and maybe it's one of these, I don't know, maybe it's a youngling that escaped from, or it was a youngling that who knows, survived, and I guess they just did that with Reva, but they can do something along those lines where just make him. He's just been hunting him for a while, and he's just an inquisitor. Because there will be, because what I will say is this: the internet has made Marek someone to guess. They haven't done that. They haven't said like, oh, they're setting this up like this is a real mysterious guy. You got to know who this is. This is going to be someone we know. They haven't set that up. They've set it up to where it could just be a random dude. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's coming up right around the corner here, and there is something about maybe if this is the case. If it is, I might just record myself to the reaction of that reveal. I don't know yet. Maybe not. We'll see. What do you guys think? Do you think this is anything to? Well, do you believe Witwer? I guess that's part one of the question. Do you think we're going to wind up getting anything else, anyone else that we'll recognize? I think Barriss Offrey was the other one, maybe. But where do you think it's going to go? Where do you stand on it? Who do you want it to be? Please comment and let me know. All right. Next one. You guys see this trailer for Godzilla -1? I dug it, man. There was a brief teaser in July. Now, Toho has now officially released the first full trailer for Godzilla -1, and the project marks the newest period live-action Godzilla movie. The story unfolds in already devastated post-war Japan, where the kaiju goes on a rampage, but further plot specifics are under wraps. Takashi Yamazaki, who handled the visual effects of 2016's Shin Godzilla, returns to write and directing the outing, which marks the second of the live-action Reiwa-era Godzilla films following the 2016 entry. 3 animated films for Netflix were also released as a part of that era, and Godzilla -1 is set to premiere in Japan on November 3rd and gets a U.S. theatrical release on December 1st. The new film also comes ahead of Legendary's upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire, which is scheduled to arrive in cinemas in May of next year. Apple TV and Legendary are also developing a live-action series adaptation of Godzilla and the Titans, which will also be set within the world of Legendary's MonsterVerse. WandaVision director Matt Shakman helms the first 2 episodes of the show, starring Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell, and Kiersey Clemens. I still am a little confused, and you guys will tell me in the comments below. This has nothing to do with the movies or anything, too. This is standalone, right? The only reason I also asked that is because the CGI looks exactly like the Godzilla in the new movies. I think this looks way better than the American stuff, like way better. And I think that's kind of the point. Like all the really great Godzilla stuff has been the Japanese stuff. But man, even the drama inside of it looks more. It looks like there's a full on real drama going on, and it's caused by the destruction and everything else too. And even like where they're saying that the Godzilla's going to be upset with them. But there's that one thing where she calls him like an embarrassment or something along those lines. And I just felt it. It just felt it the way that she was talking, and it was a real drama. It didn't feel like a studio movie. And the humans are the least interesting thing in all of the monster, Godzilla, Kong movies, and all the Transformer movies, they are the least important things. And that's why I've been such an advocate of like, yeah, you don't need them. Who cares? Just have them they run around, they do a couple things, and you have something to take us through, but who cares? But I change my tune a little bit when I see it shot this way, because it seems like, okay, I might actually care about these humans. And if I care about them, and if I care about the drama inside of it, then I don't care about the mix. But when it's just some generic, stupid studio story, who cares? You know, and I love Millie Bobby Brown. I don't remember a damn thing about the story. I just know she was in it. I don't remember the story. I don't remember any of the human stories in the Godzilla stuff and the Kong stuff. I just remember Godzilla and Kong throwing blows, and that was it. And I kind of remember certain things about the human story, but not really. Remember Bryan Cranston being in the first one, and I was excited about that, and they dropped the ball on that one. But that being said, this trailer, I was like, oh, I look like I might actually care about the story. And I could be wrong when I see the movie, but they set the trailer up in a way that I cared about the story. But what about you guys? What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? I really want to know. Let me know exactly what you think. All right, let's talk about Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, man. Blue Beetle is that movie that I thought could have an Elemental type run if enough people saw it and started talking about it, and it seems it's got that possibility. This is from Comic Book Movie. Blue Beetle is holding up better than The Flash and Shazam 2 at the box office, but can it turn a profit? From Mark Cassidy. In its 3-day weekend in theaters, Blue Beetle is holding up pretty well at the domestic box office, at least in comparison to other DC-based movies, The Flash and Shazam Fury of the Gods. Jaime Reyes' big screen debut is expected to take in $7.3 million this weekend in the U.S., marking a 40% drop from last weekend, topping the Shazam sequel's 4.6, which is a 50.7 drop, and The Flash's 5.2, which is a 65.4 drop. The movie's domestic total is at 56.6 and it's expected to reach between 70 million and 75 million by the end of its run. Worldwide, it's just past the 95 million mark. Can it turn a profit? Honestly, even recouping its costs seem unlikely. The film did reportedly have a relatively modest budget of over 100 million before marketing, but unless it proves to have very strong legs, it can struggle. A direct sequel was always a long shot, but DC Studios' James Gunn has confirmed that Reyes will be sticking around in the new DCU. Although looking at the box office performances of recent DC movies, Gunn and Safran are going to have their work cut out to reignite audiences' interest in the brand. Yeah, I mean, look, this is, I think the other thing that is, I don't know if it's a mistake. I don't know how many people are paying attention to it except like us. But they also announced that I think it's coming to Max this month, right? So I think they already announced the digital release. Maybe that's what it was. They already announced the digital release. So my one part of my brain goes, well, that could be a mistake because then people are like, I'll just wait. It's coming out this month. I'll go check it out once it hits and I'm sure some people will say that once it hits digital or once it hits Max, I'll just wait. And I think because it had word of mouth and there's no other competition right now, I think they should have waited on that and let it play because clearly the drop wasn't that big. Now the question is, how big is the drop going to be next week? Like they said, I think I agree with Mark though on this. I think it's going to be very tough for them to. Well, they're not going to make a profit. I just don't think they're going to make a profit because of marketing and everything too. I think that they'll get close. It's good news that it did better than both Shazam and The Flash because it does prove like both those movies, right? The Flash and Shazam the Flash was already set up. People know who the Flash is. And for people like, oh, he's not as much of a well-known character as you think. The Flash had a successful TV show for 9 or 10 seasons, whatever it was. So it was in the public zeitgeist. People were talking about it. And so you know who it was. Whether or not you knew what was going on with Ezra Miller or not. People know, and Batman was in it, so they had a lot of things working for it that didn't pan out. It should have had a lot of things working for it that didn't pan out. Shazam Part 2 was coming off of a pretty successful first movie. and Zach Levi is more recognizable than Sholem Duenya. So that being said, those movies should have done better than Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, content-wise, was the better human story. It was the better story. I think that the best superhero movie out of the three of them. Oh man, if the ending wasn't as, I just watched The Flash again recently. The ending is so sloppy. But leading up to that, the stuff leading up to it, I liked a lot. But the ending just doesn't hit. I think that the storyline, the superhero part of Blue Beetle is the worst part of it. I think it's generic, but I think it's probably the best out of the three. And I think that the family story, I think it overall is probably the best movie when you put the whole package together of the DC. So it makes sense that it would do better, and that people that saw it would say, no, that was actually, I didn't know what to expect. And I went and checked it out, and it was pretty good. You should go check it out. And maybe enough people will go, all right, I heard it was pretty good. Let's go check it out. We have nothing to watch this weekend. There's not a lot out, and I want to go to the movies. Let's go see that. Or people are going to most likely say, oh, it's good. All right, I'll wait for streaming. We'll see what happens. That happens a lot these days. What do you guys think? You think it's going to catch up? Do you think it's got a shot? Did you see it? If so, what did you think? Make sure you share your comments and let me know exactly what's in your head. And you know what should be in your head and in your bellies? Green Chef and AG1. I'm going to tell you both about them right now. You guys are very familiar with AG1, and I'm glad that I am. I love AG1. They've changed my life, man. They really have. Our next partner is AG1. It's the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it every day. I wake up in the morning. I shake up a scoop in a bottle of water, and actually been using this cup I got from the zoo. Don't ask me why, but that's what I've been doing normally. And I put it in this cup, and I shake it around, and I love my coffee. I'm not going to tell you that I don't love coffee, but I only take 1 cup of coffee now. I only need 1 cup because AG1 is my sleep quality is better. My just everything about them. I feel like my immune system is better now. It's like there's so much better. I just feel overall, I feel so much more healthy. I've been in a better mood since I've been taking AG1. I really have, and I love it. It's so good because I can't do it's hard for me to do the supplemental routine. It comes with a whole bunch of different products, and it's just, I don't know. It's just easier for me to do it all with one shot. And since I've been drinking AG1, I've known just a lot of mental clarity. My digestion is easier. I'm focusing a lot better. So for me, I don't understand why people would want to take a bunch of different things where you can just take 1 scoop, put it in powder, shake it up once a day, boom. Because AG1 was designed with ease in mind so you can live healthier and better without having to complicate your routine. It's the best. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad they're with us. They've been with us for so long, and I had someone over the weekend ask me, hey, I want to support the show. I want to try AG1. You think I'll enjoy it? I said, yes, you will enjoy it for sure. And one of the things I really like about it too is that it tastes good. It's green. It tastes good. I'm telling you. And it smells good too. My wife the other day, she's like, what smells like berries? I was like, AG1, man. So if you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. You have to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. drinkag1.com/bigthing. Check it out. You'll thank me later. You guys know Green Chef. I've been talking about Green Chef forever. I love them. I've been so excited to continue to work with them because I've been eating really good, as I mentioned before, not only with other vitamins and stuff I'm taking, but I'm eating really well. And the reason why I'm eating so well is because Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating clean with dinners that work for you. And it's not the other way around. You can eat clean the easy way with recipes that help manage your weight and support your wellness goals without skimping on flavor. I talk about it all the time. I do my own, I make like quesadillas now, and I can throw stuff on the grill. They have really good meat, good burgers. And they have everything that you can actually, if you don't like burgers, you want to eat vegan more, they can do that too. You can enjoy effortless plant-based dining with Vegan Kickoff, which is a brand new limited time options, including delicious vegan breakfast, lunches, dinners and sides. They have everything. They deliver everything you need to eat clean the easy way for the rest of the summer. You can feel your best with nutritionists-approved recipes packed with clean ingredients that support your healthy lifestyle, and they taste great too. So if you want to check it out, please go and do it because they're really amazing. You get ahead of the busy season with their convenient step-by-step recipes. They have dinners that are ready in like 25 minutes or less. I'm telling you, it was so easy for me, and I'm an imbecile when it comes to cooking. And it was so great. I mean, I love them. If you go to greenchef.com/60thing, greenchef.com/60thing, and use that code 60thing, you'll get 60% off plus free shipping. It is worth the shot. Go and give it a whirl, as the World Girls would say. It is so good. I love it, and you'll love it too. So make sure you check it out. That is Green Chef, everybody. All right. Thank you to our friends over at AG1 and Green Chef. And you know I've been talking about them forever, and you know that I love them very much, and I hope that you do too. And I hope that for those people who have tried it, you're enjoying it, and I love hearing from you about it. If you can do it to help the show, to help yourself, please do it. There's a reason I say that every single show, because it's true. As Kurt Angle says, it's damn true. So help us out, help yourself out, get yourself some AG1, get yourself some Green Chef. All right, let's move on. All right, this is a stupid story, but I want to bring it up because it's something that I always knew, and it was confirmed, and it made all the sense in the world that this is exactly what happened, and I have to bring it up. So the X-Men Last Stand, Simon Kinberg wrote that one, co-wrote it, and he's revealed that the movie's infamous exchange between the Juggernaut and Kitty Pryde was not in the original script that he wrote with Zach Penn, a part of this Juggernaut bitch part. X-Men 3, X-Men Last Stand is widely viewed as the worst entry in the franchise, or was until Dark Phoenix. I still think The Last Stand is worse. And is really only memorable for one moment in the final act when Juggernaut is chasing down Kitty Pryde, Ellie, then known as Ellen Page. As the seemingly unstoppable villain in closing in on the young mutant, she uses her abilities to phase him through the floor. Juggernaut looks up angrily at his foe and says, "Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut bitch," before busting free and resuming the chase. The line was inspired by a parody dub video of the 90s X-Men the Animated Series that was created in 2005 by Randy Hayes and Xavier Nazario of My Way Entertainment and went on to spawn numerous memes. The dialogue always seemed out of place, and co-writer Simon Kinberg has revealed it wasn't part of the final script that he submitted with Zach Penn. During an interview with Polygon, Kinberg confirmed that Brett Ratner added the line after principal photography had already wrapped. The real story on that is that it was a reshoot Ratner line. Ratner took over when original director Matthew Vaughn left the project over creative differences, and it sounded like it would have been a very different film had he stayed on board. Kinberg says, with Matthew, it was a major departure from Bryan Singer, who had directed the first two movies. Matthew himself is a world builder, or maybe more than a world builder, a tone builder. He wanted to do something tonally very different than the previous two films. And so we were really in this script phase, even though pre-production, because Matthew was aboard for a long time. And so it felt like, even though we weren't creating an entirely new universe, because Bryan had obviously done an amazing job of building the foundation with the first two films and all those decades worth of incredible comics, we were creating a new tone within that world and new rules. I think you saw that tune in X-Men First Class. So this doesn't surprise me at all. And I actually really liked that it started to go towards the, well, look what you eventually got with Matthew Vaughn and why they said, oops, maybe we should have went with Matthew Vaughn in the first place after that shit piece that Ratner turned in. I will never forget this when I saw that, because I remember the Juggernaut bitch stuff. My buddy Naveed, if you watch his show enough, he was laughing his ass off and thought it was the funniest thing ever. And it was funny. It was the actual YouTube thing was funny when it popped up. It was one of those things that, again, this is like 2006, and YouTube is like a year old, and so the viral video was a thing and was a brand new thing, and all these, like, you know, people, you see these types of videos, the Optimus Prime stuff, and it was new and it was hilarious. And then I'll never forget it. When I saw that movie and that scene pops up, and I can't remember who I was with, but afterwards I go, you know what happened. Ratner thinks he's so funny, and Ratner was like, oh, it would be great if we just took the Juggernaut bitch and put that in the movie right now, even though it made no sense, and just because it was going popular at the time, and now it is extremely dated, makes absolutely no sense. I was like, there had to be a Ratner call. There's no way it wasn't a Ratner call, and Kinberg confirmed it, because it's such a, like, oh, that'd be hilarious if, it's so funny if that what's going on right there, everybody's laughing about it. Let's ruin the scene and ruin a great character just because it's trending, and it's like, ugh. It was such a stupid scene. I hated it, and the movie's just not good at all. I don't even think I've seen it since I saw it in the theater, but like that, I just saw that and I was like, oh, you know what? We should talk about it, because most of the time when it ever gets brought up, and I'm sure I talked about it back in the day, whether it was Collider or AMC when we talked about this, and I pretty much made it clear on my disdain for that scene. But most of the time, people were in agreement that it was really dumb, but there were people who liked it and didn't mind it, and I'm sure we'll get some of them in the comments. So tell me, what did you think of that scene? Were you surprised at all that it was a Ratner line, or did you think, hey, no, I actually think it fit. It made it work, and it at that time I didn't mind it. I'd love to hear the thoughts. So make sure you comment and tell me what you think. All right, there was a Loki trailer, a new one, and it was a shorter one, but it's just we're getting ready for it because it's coming out in October. So again, Mark Julian over at Comic Book Movie. Tom Hiddleston's Loki will continue to anchor MCU side of the Disney Plus streaming services as the release of Season 2 of the time-traveling action-adventure drama draws near. Tom Hiddleston's God of Mischief is back for another tangle with the variants of He Who Remains, played by Jonathan Majors, and Miss Minutes, voiced by Tara Strong. Season 2 will debut on Disney Plus on October 6th, will consist of 6 episodes, and will be included in Phase 5. Also returning for Season 2 are Owen Wilson, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and Ravonna Renslayer, Sophia DiMartino, and Wunmi Masako as Hunter B-15. New cast members include Ke Kwan, Raphael Casal, and Kate Dickey. Plot specifics for the second season are unknown. However, the teaser depicts Loki and Mobius collaborating to explore a new threat to the timeline. Previously released footage also shows a multiverse plot with Loki meeting with what appears to be a new variant of He Who Remains after the creator was killed by Sylvie in Season 1. The first trailer broke a Disney record with 80 million views, indicating that despite the lukewarm response to more Disney Plus offerings, Loki remains high. It will be certainly interesting to see if the level of interest remains once the show starts airing. I loved Loki Season 1. I go back and forth. I talk about this all the time. WandaVision and Loki Season 1. I think those are the two best shows of the MCU television shows that they've done. I think the time travel aspect of it is done well and not abused in this show. I like that it's 6 episodes, and I think that we're going to get longer episodes. I hope that we get longer episodes. I think the 6-episode, 8-episode, 32 minutes is an embarrassment. I really do, for any shows. I think it's for shows like this and Star Wars, it's an embarrassment. What Star Wars is doing with their shows is it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I think we'll have longer episodes, and we'll get an opportunity to really marinate in it. And I'm hyped for this show because I think that it is the one show or one thing in the MCU that can start to bring some, I don't know, sustainability, is that the word, to the entire like through line of what the hell's going on in a connectivity, I guess is a better word, to what the hell is going on inside of this MCU and how it's going to play into the Secret Wars and the multiverse saga overall, and how things can start playing like, and I think that they should. I think that it would actually behoove them that once this is over, and it does prove relevant, that when Feige is asked, hey, do people need to watch Loki in order to know what's going on, that he looks and he goes, yes, they absolutely should. They never tell you. I mean, your friends will tell you, like, hey, I've never seen this before. Do I need to see that in order to watch this? And friends will always go, yeah, you probably should. I've gotten that question many times over. Hey, I've never seen this movie, and the third one's coming out. Does it really matter? And sometimes they'll go, not really. They'll kind of like play together. But other times I'll go, yeah, you really should, because you need to get caught up. Do I need to see this before I see this? Do I need to see that before I see that? And anytime Marvel's ever asked, or anybody's ever asked, hey, I've never seen this show, should I see this before, or should I watch some of this before I watch it? They go, nah, it's a standalone, you should be fine. Like they're doing it with Rebels, with and I think Rebels is more like in Ahsoka is more accurate to say you don't necessarily have to, as opposed to WandaVision. I think WandaVision was a must. I think it was a must in order to know what the hell was going on in multiverse. Like, because if you in Multiverse of Madness, because if you go into that movie, you've only seen Doctor Strange 1, and then you go to watch Doctor Strange 2, and first of all, let's say you've never seen a lot of the other MCU movies. You've just seen Doctor Strange and you liked it and you wanted to continue on. Like, all these different things are happening, and then Wanda, you're like, who's that? Oh, she's bad? Well, she wasn't always bad. But why is she bad? Well, if you've seen the show, I haven't seen the show. Oh, well, I don't know who that is. Who are those kids? And it's like, there was a lot going on. So I think that it'd be great if at one time people are like, yeah, look, Loki season 2 is crucial to the storyline. So watch it. If you're able to watch it, watch it. It is crucial to it. What they're worried about, and I know that the answer to it is because if you say that and people are like, I don't want to watch it, then you feel it's going to hurt your box office when the movies come out. I understand that. But I do think there's something to transparency when you say, look, this is a full-on shared universe. And we have cut back on the shows, and you don't have to watch all of the shows. But this one, we recommend you watch it so you know what the hell's going on. I would love that. I would love for them to say that. Because I think, and people would answer in a way that I'm sure of, well, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that show. That's not what I want to watch. I just want to watch the movie. I shouldn't have to be able to catch up with this in order to know that. Yeah, but if they're doing a shared universe and they tell you the truth, I think it'd be great. And nonetheless, I think from the way that it looks in these trailers, that there's going to be a lot that really ties into Phase 5 and Phase 6 overall. So we'll see. Very curious to hear your thoughts. Please go ahead. Tell me what you're thinking. What do you feel about Loki? Do you agree with anything I just said about the transparency and all that? Go ahead, comment. Let me know. All right, let's shift gears for a second. Nicholas Winding Refn has taken a shot at streamers. Drive and Only God Forgives filmmaker Nicholas Winding Refn has appeared at the Venice Film Festival to pay tribute to Italian filmmaker Rogerio Deodato and participate in a masterclass session. During the latter, the Danish Helmer took a chance to take a swipe at streaming services whom he says, via Variety, are overfunded and rotten with money and cocaine. That was an interesting throw. Refn proclaimed cinema is dead a few years ago, but he's now changed his tune and says he will fight for cinema to continue as streamers have kind of saturated everything and devalued content just to swipe. Refn, who has directed films of various sizes along with creating series for the two biggest streamers, goes on to say, even though I projected it was dead a few years ago, it has changed into something we have to fight for. Theatrical movies are part of what makes us human and experience creativity. It is extremely sad and terrifying because art is essentially the only thing besides, sex, water, and happiness that makes us exist. Refn last directed the series Copenhagen Cowboy for Netflix and Too Old to Die Young for Amazon. He also told the crowd he was working on a new movie, but he wouldn't share any details. Okay. The reason I mean, like I said, I think that there's a common thread with streaming. Streaming does have to be put in check. There's no doubt about it. They're able to run kind of rampant right now, and hence the reason why we have these strikes, and one of the reasons we have these strikes. And there's a lot of things that needs to change. But it is funny how, this guy has directed stuff for some streamers. So he probably had a bad experience, and now he's able to just kind of, say shit about them now too. So I don't know what it is about Nicholas Winding Refn. I've never really been. I think that I didn't mind Drive. I think it's fine. People love it. I probably should revisit it. I was definitely one of those people that went in thinking it was one thing, was completely left going, oh, I don't know if I dug that the same way. But again, I haven't seen it in probably what came out in 2011. That's probably the last time I saw it. So I think that I'd probably like it. Maybe I have no idea. I just know that I've tried to watch his other stuff. Some of his films come off a little bit pretentious, in my opinion, but people really like his stuff. I just don't know. I get it. He's an auteur. I understand. But it is a little kind of, I don't know, hypocritical in that he's done a few things for streamers, but now what happened that you don't like him anymore? And now you're taking shots at him. But you signed the deal when they were going to make your movie. But I don't disagree. that they are the cocaine aspect was interesting, but I do agree that they're lawless right now, and they need to be put in check. There's no doubt about it, and that's what happened when we're still very fresh into this streaming thing, guys. I remember, what was it, 5 years ago when we were talking about this, because Netflix was really the one that started it all, and then we started talking about, it was me and like Dennis, and I'm pretty sure it was Schnepp, I'm pretty sure, and we were on the panel, and we were talking this begun the stream wars have, and it was like all these different things were starting to come into play, and they were talking about how all these different studios and places were still going to make this run at Netflix and go after, and it just changed the business completely. And then once one company does something and it's successful, the other company tries it, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. And yeah, it has changed cinema. There's no doubt about it. I don't disagree with him there. It absolutely has changed cinema, because it's like there's certain things that are seen in theaters back in the day that just simply aren't seen now, because there's so much content on the streaming and there's so many movies you can find. The problem is, and I think that, and I'm guilty of this as well too, and I don't know if you guys are, but I'm used to like the old school direct to DVD means it's probably low quality, right? And it's not fair to feel that way about movies that are getting put onto streaming, because it's the best way to get your movie seen, way more than it is putting it on in the theater. But there's movies that come out and I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is. It's a streaming movie. It's probably not that good. And a lot of times I'm right, but a lot of times there's stuff that is actually pretty good. But it's like, oh, you know what I just watched? Perfect example is I just watched that movie that Adam Sandler and his kids are in. You Are So Not Invited to My Bar Mitzvah. Now, Adam Sandler has 87 Netflix movies. And when you look at it, like, oh, this is another one of those movies. Who knows what it is? And Netflix does this thing that I wish this was the main thing that they're fighting for in the strikes. And I kid. But the trailers that they show on Netflix are an abomination, because they're not trailers. They're scenes. And like when you're going through it and you go through and it just, the scene pops up. It's just Adam Sandler and his daughter fighting. What's it about? What's the movie about? Why am I going to watch it? I know nothing about this. What do we want you to go to YouTube and go and check it out? I'm on Netflix. I'm scrolling. Don't show me a scene. That at least had some relevance to, sometimes it's just like, here's the scene, and it's a guy putting a piece of lettuce on a turkey sandwich. Oh, hey Morty, haven't seen you in a while. Hey, you seen that new bike that came in? Yeah, I do. And it's a murder mystery, and it has nothing to do with the bike. It's got nothing to do with the sandwich, and you're just like, what am I watching? So that being said, the reason why we saw that scene, like, oh, the scene looks fine. I mean, it at least told me in that scene, what I will say, is that, oh, it doesn't seem like it's Adam Sandler goofball comedy. It seems like he's actually kind of dramatic acting in it, which he's great. I think he's a very underrated dramatic actor, like very underrated. And like Hustle, I loved Hustle, loved that movie. And so, and that's another example of a streaming movie that was really good. So that movie, we go and watch that movie, and I think my father-in-law had seen it and recommended it to us. I watched it with my wife and my 11, almost 12-year-old, and we loved it. It was great. So there are a lot of movies out there that do play, that work, that wouldn't, and that movie wouldn't do well in the theaters. 10 years ago it might have, but now it doesn't. And it's because there's just so much. So I do think there's some merit into the idea of it has changed, and it's more than merit. It's a fact. Streaming has changed the industry in general. I don't know. What do you guys think about his comments? Do you agree with all of them? Do you agree with some of them? Do you agree with none of them? Is there a lot of cocaine in Netflix? Go ahead and let me know. People love this Hogwarts game, man. Some Garth Franklin over at Dark Horizons. Earlier today, just hours after the end of Back to Hogwarts Day celebration, Harry Potter fans who were also into gaming got a jolt of excitement. Longtime scooper My Time to Shine Hello revealed on social media that their sources had confirmed that a Hogwarts Legacy sequel, it's in the works. If true, a follow-up to what has been the biggest selling game of the year isn't much of a shock. Within 2 weeks of its February launch on current-gen consoles, the game sold more than 12 million copies. By the time it first became available on past-gen consoles in early May, the number had gone up 1 billion and 15 million copies sold. Further sales figures aren't available after that, but the game is also set to make the jump to Switch on November 15th. The report follows on from the game's official Twitter account announcing that a feature-length documentary about developer Avalanche Software's creation of the game is coming sometime this year. Fans are hopeful that said behind-the-scenes documentary will offer an actual official update on the sequel's status. At the very least, it could offer details on any planned expansion of the current game, which has no DLC at present. This is a absolute no-brainer whatsoever from all those numbers, and even if I didn't know any of those numbers, I would tell you they would be silly not to. Now, the question is, as it takes a while to develop this stuff, how long? Now, if it was a Star Wars game, I'd tell you it'd probably come out in 2046. But this, they're going to figure out a way to get it out, but they're going to make sure that it's quality. Obviously, they want to keep the quality. So probably, and again, you guys tell me because you guys are more of the gamers than I am. I would assume that if they announce this thing and they start working on it, you probably see it in 3 to 4 years. Is that accurate, or do you think they get it out sooner? I think 3 to 4 years probably makes sense. And it makes absolute sense that they would do this. It's a very popular game, and it's really it's very similar to me. This is like when I was growing up, the original trilogy for Star Wars was like it was the thing, and then we didn't have anything. We had nothing else for a long time except when the Timothy Zahn novels came out. When those Thrawn novels, the Heir to the Empire novels came out, that was like the closest thing to like Star Wars sequels that we got. Now, I know there would have been Fantastic Beasts stuff, but it hasn't had that feel and the pun intended magic that Harry Potter fans have wanted. This game did it. I mean, I can tell you, we've been walking in. I didn't play the game itself, but I watched my daughter play it. And just watching certain things that she was playing, it felt, I mean, they should make a movie out of this thing. They should definitely make a movie out of this thing. At least something along the lines of a prequel years back. And I think they said that maybe they were doing it. And I know there was rumor of like a series, and I don't know. Either way, though, this captured the spirit of Harry Potter way more than Fantastic Beasts did overall. So it makes a lot of sense that, I mean, I think it's an absolute no-brainer, and I'm very curious to what you guys think. Go ahead, let me know. Tell me. Got to hear your thoughts. All right, I think that's the show today, guys. So please, once again, go ahead and comment any of the stories that we had here today. I'd really like to get your thoughts. If you haven't done it already, whether it is Rocket Money, RUMPL Blankets, AG1, Green Chef, I list all of them in the first comment, and I pin it. So show a little. Just announce. And if you have the means to, and you can, throw me a bone. Try one, and let me know what you think. Because they're right there, like, all right, asshole face. You ask me all the time. I've never done it before. You put a poll up. I wrote you haven't tried it yet. Let today be the day. These are 4 incredible sponsors. You want to try one, try one. You want to try 2, try 2. You want to try all 4 of them, try all 4. Give it a shot. If you can support and you're able to help the show, do it. You won't regret it, I promise. Hit that button, man. And Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere that we are found, my friends. Go check it out. All right, it's the big thing. Thanks for joining me here today. I appreciate you. Peace.